very special episode of ISL Podcast, where we discuss certain topics of our modern society. And today's very special episode, we've got Teacher Sulaiman here as our guest to share his opinion on what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
So, our topic, education and technology. Teacher Javis, would you like to start off with a question?
Well, first of all, I think it's a very important topic because initially I was thinking this generation is so blessed to have technology or to grow up in the era where they have technology. I look at certain things like, for example, you give an assignment and students will quickly Google things up, right? When we were growing up, you didn't have that privilege. You had to dig through your books.
That is true.
So it's very interesting.
I had to spend a lot of time at the library at university.
Right.
You were lucky you had a library.
that was a huge library at the university.
Yeah.
So you get to thinking, is technology in education a good thing?
Yeah, I would think so. First of all, thank you for having me. Nowadays, I mean, we cannot deny technology's existence and the younger generations using it a lot. So that I think that has become a bigger part of education now.
Right.
As a tool.
Right.
Yeah. So.
I would go both ways, but mainly, of course, on the positive side. But both ways because the negative impact of technology to education is that students rely mainly on the internet. It's just like you give them something to do, and then that's right. We can just Google it.
I'll Google it.
We can just Google it during the what do you call this? Distance learning. And everyone is on the internet. Everyone's sitting at home in front of their computers or their phones or the tablets, and you ask a question. And in the past, when a teacher would ask a question, students would be like, just listening, waiting for the correct answers. But now, during that time, anyone can just easily answer because they can just easily Google the answer.
And you don't know who's being authentic.
That's true, you don't even know. But the thing is, there are some students who are not paying attention to their environment, and you can actually hear them typing. They forget to mute their microphones, and you can hear them typing. So as a teacher, you'll be like, okay, you can't do anything.
And sometimes you get perfect answers.
Just too good.
Yes, too good. Too good.
You're like, I know you're not wrong, but this is too good.
So, yeah, that's true, adding on to that, when you give them certain assignments, for example, writing assignments, you'll be thinking twice, is this the work of my student? Is this mainly the work of my student?
Right.
So, I always, whenever I would check writing assignments, I always have, what do you call this, an application that checks for plagiarism and all, so that I could actually see if the student did the assignment on his or her own, or just copied it directly from the internet.
Yeah, but it's easy to spot actually if you have spent long enough time with your students.
Right.
Yeah,
That's true.
last year, I mean, I was teaching grade 12 students, and I was teaching when they were at grade 11. So I know the way they write, the way they choose their vocabulary and stuff. I know that, and after assigning homework, when they submit it back, so it's very easy to spot their sentences and sentences from somewhere else.
Right, that's true. You'll be like, wow, this is perfect.
So here is another question. technology help the students become, I don't want to use the word more intelligent, or should I say smarter? Is it a good thing that they have all these avenues that they can exploit?
Actually, for me, that's again both a good thing and a bad thing. Because for a good thing, specifically for students who are actually what do you call this? Who really want to learn, right? It's the perfect resources for them. They can just go there and then easily learn things, and yeah, they get to learn a lot of things in so many different ways, right? And not just reading through books. They can watch videos, they can play games where they can learn things, and yeah, so many different things. However, the negative thing is that they become so reliant on it that I don't need to know this. If I need to know it, whenever I need it, I can just Google it.
Right, it's that bad. It's a shortcut, right?
It's a shortcut. That's true.
It's a shortcut.
It's a shortcut. That's true. But for me, no, it's not really a good thing because growing up, the traditional way of learning is
nowadays, students are more informed than say from our generation, right? Because they can access to current information. I mean, when we were studying, I mean, we didn't have wide access to internet, and it was limited to information in the books, right?
Yeah.
So they are more informed today, and if they're interested in with certain topics, they are too much informed.
That's true.
And so I'm also on a more positive side.
Right.
But the thing is, for negative side, for using internet in not very useful way. So students need to be channeled towards what is more beneficial for them. I mean, as teachers, we know what we're teaching, right? And we want students to learn things in our books and things that will be very useful for them.
Right.
So I think this brings to the topic to issue of teachers being still very important.
Okay. Alright. That's a good one.
Because we have another challenge to channel students' attention to what we want them to learn. Right? Okay. Beyond the classroom, they are free to explore whatever they want, right? As long as their parents are okay with it. But for school matters, I mean, for the subjects we are teaching, still, it's our responsibility.
So yes.
I'm saying this because a few years back I attended a very big conference, and people were discussing whether the school setting is going to change in the future to maybe like a classroom without teachers. Students are just given instructions to follow whatever they want to learn, and if teachers will be needed or not. So now, I think I have the answer for myself.
Okay.
Teachers are still important.
We still
very important.
Still very important. Yeah. So I would say that not exactly smarter, but well informed, as teachers may say. Yeah, well informed. Having technology inside the classroom also makes a huge difference. If you compare it to the past, growing up, what technology did we even have in the classroom? Nothing.
At best, maybe an overhead projector.
Yes.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah. Students don't even know that now. Like, you ask them what's an OHP, no one knows what an OHP is. Yeah. So that was the closest to technology we had.
That's ancient technology now.
Ancient technology, I would want to say, yes. Ancient technology, that's true. So, it makes a huge difference. And even for me, when I first came here and using the smart board with the smart pen and the board is connected to the internet, I was like, wow. Like, just just, there's no bound for me. I mean, it's boundless. I can do whatever I can or whatever I want to do for my students to learn in so many different ways, in so many different levels.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Yeah.
Everything you need is right there.
Yeah,
Right
that's
there.
true. All you need to do is just know how to use them properly.
Properly and at times discreetly.
That's great. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but I'm not afraid to say I don't know. When students ask a question,
Of course,
I'm not afraid.
yeah.
But at times you feel like giving answers to them, right? So just check on the side and
Right.
And now
but
sometimes
it's just a joke.
Yeah.
sometimes students will ask you a question, and then when you give them an answer, they'll be trying to verify.
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
So it's a good thing that we ask our students to keep their phones in the
Keep them away.
keep them away, so that you don't have a way of checking if they're correct or not. But yeah, kidding aside, yeah.
But going back to what Mr. Suleiman was saying, teachers are still very important.
True.
Right? Like I say, students now try to verify everything, so it makes the teacher be on their A game.
Right.
I really need to be well informed because I'm dealing with students who have information.
Yes,
on the
that is
fingertips.
so true.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be on your A game because they can just easily recheck everything that you're
Right.
saying,
Right.
right? If they're listening.
Back in the day, there was nothing like that.
No way. There's no
When the
way you
teacher
would question.
speaks, it's gospel truth, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
Right.
like it right away. If it comes from your teacher, then that's there's no way you can argue that.
Yeah, you can't question that.
You cannot question it. But nowadays, students they are more since they are well informed. They're more informed than we were in the past. They can just ask. How do you say this? To confirm things.
Right.
To confirm
Right.
things.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. It's not a
No,
bad
it's
thing.
not.
It's not a bad thing because it just means that students are actually thinking.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brain of theirs is working to the right side,
Right.
the proper side. What I mean. Yeah. So technology in education also brings the idea of it's not only hang on, sorry, the idea of making money out of it. Because nowadays, because of technology, teachers can teach at home without being in the classroom. So you
Right.
can actually make money out of it. Before I came here, I used to teach online. I didn't really teach in the classroom. Well, I did. But I spent about 3 years teaching online. And during that time, I had learned so many things in terms of the use of technology to inform students. And I was dealing with students, one student at a time. So I can actually give them so much for them to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, resources are everywhere now.
Right.
You don't need to go to the library like back in the day, look for specific information.
Yeah.
Like I say, you can literally give students a lot of work because it's right there. It's
Right,
in front of
right.
you.
And publishers also catching up with that, with that trend. I mean, you can read under the instructions. I mean, go check online resources
Oh,
for
yeah,
the answers.
that's true,
Yeah.
that's true.
It makes everything easy.
Yes, that's true. Now, it brings me to this question. How do you feel growing up in the traditional way, being in the classroom, only relying on your books and to whatever the teacher would have to say? How does it feel whenever students double check everything or don't immediately believe what you say because you might be getting it wrong, or it's not just the same as the way you did it before.
Right.
So how does that make you feel?
I think for me, I actually encourage it. It's a good thing when students are skeptical, but I don't want them to be skeptical with me.
Well, what you're saying when you're teaching, right?
Right.
If they're respectfully showing that,
yes.
Right.
then that's more than welcome.
That's true. Don't you have any negative feeling towards it?
I mean, if it happens over and over, then of course you start feeling like the students don't really believe in what you're
what you're saying.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
It can be annoying, right? So the first time that you felt it, I'm just curious because the first time I felt it, I was uncomfortable. The first time, but then just happens all the time, so I kind of got used to it. I felt uncomfortable at the beginning. How about you?
Yeah, when it happened, at first it was uncomfortable, as you're saying, it was uncomfortable, but then I realized that probably we are the luckiest generation. Because we grow up in a traditional way and found ourselves in the new setting, in current situation. So we are young enough to explore and still learn things, and we know what we did to learn things in the past, and we know what the trend is right now. So we can follow that now.
Right.
People older than us probably struggling with technology. Not all of them, but majority of them, right? And young generation, they don't know what it's like to study only from books.
Right.
And looking for information, going to library and trying to locate a bigger library in the city and try to go there and find certain books and stuff. So they don't know.
And somehow I feel like it's actually our fault because we've been telling these children that they shouldn't believe everything, they need to verify. So we can't be mad if they're verifying what they say. We're the ones who tell them to don't just accept what you're told.
Right. But sometimes for me, I always kind of, I always compare actually. I always compare the way I experienced things in the past and the way I experience things now. How I give students their assignments, their research projects, those kinds of things. I would always go back to the time we would be given a project and then receive this project. Everyone's like, who's going to be the leader, because the leader will be responsible for doing everything, basically, right? Most of the time.
What is it, a class project?
Yeah, a class project, like a group project, And if you receive the project, that just means you'll be doing research. And research is, for me back then, it was not available at school because we didn't have a library. We would have to go to the city library. That means going to the city.
Right.
It's a lot of work, right? It's just a lot of work, but now you give students this project, and somehow I don't feel that they're so, how do you call this? Like they feel the way I felt before.
Yeah,
like,
they're not working hard.
Exactly what I mean. Exactly what I mean.
Yeah, that's our perception, right?
Yeah.
If you ask them, they work so long.
Right.
They have to go to bed after midnight because they're searching more things online. So for them, they're working really hard.
Really hard. But if you try to compare that, going to the city library, going through different books just for you to find a very certain specific detail to answer one question.
But also it brings me to one thing. Just because we have it harder than this generation, it doesn't mean that how they're doing it is wrong.
That's true, but I kind of feel like they have to feel the way I felt before too.
That's true. But if we had a shortcut on how to do things,
We would have done it.
probably, yeah.
That's
Yeah, we would have used it.
So we can't blame them for having.
I want to go back to what you mentioned earlier about channeling the students to the correct path. Because a lot of our students nowadays, even if they have so many different resources, they don't know how to use them properly.
Yeah.
I'll give you a very simple example, right? One student submits a copied and pasted work from Wikipedia. You can tell because you've got numbers per sentence.
Right.
At the end of the sentence, there's like a number.
Right.
And then I was there just reading and laughing. And I thought to myself, oh, this student needs to learn.
They don't even know how to copy and paste.
Exactly. so I told him, the next time you copy and paste, remove those small numbers.
It's like in one of the shows, the teacher says, teacher gives feedback.
Right.
So comes to a student and says, I think you have taken your homework from Wikipedia. And students like, what makes you think like that? Okay. It's easy because you have taken a screenshot and you forgot to crop the page.
It's even got the Wikipedia logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Well, I would admit, I also did it like that before. I didn't know how to use technology.
Right.
But when that particular phase of technology was around the world, I was already in uni, not in elementary or high school. But for these kids, they've got so much to learn how to properly use technology to benefit them, basically.
Which can be dangerous.
Which can be dangerous.
They will learn the perfect way to plagiarize.
I still hope not. I still hope not. Okay, I believe that sums up our discussion for today. Thank you so much for joining us and treating us our coffee.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for coming and hope to see you again next time.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers and cut.
Cheers and cut.
Yeah, by the way, everyone's welcome for a cup of coffee. And
You heard that.
It's on here.
It's on him every time. Coffee is on him.